Alrighty, very quick concept on that. Again, you can relate to any of your exercises and you can use it to your advantage and with mostly endurance events. But we'll talk about very briefly about something called glycemic index or glycemic load, whatever you want to call it. Load. These are kind of the same thing. I mean, for this instance, let's just say they have the same definition. Glycemic index and glycemic load. What this is really a number between a 1 through 99. It might go through 100, I'm not sure. But it's a number essentially. And the higher the number is, well, let's just say it's a rate of how fast the body absorbs the glucose. Because again, remember after you work out, it increases your sugar level, and you absorb that glucose over a set period of time. And when you're done with that, when you absorb most of the glucose, you get hungry, and your body signals you to eat. Well, the glycemic index is how fast your body absorbs the glucose. Absorbs. So with a higher number, you absorb the glucose faster. A low number, you absorb it slower. And this is actually based on a piece of white bread. And this is a fun question. Based on a piece of white bread, because that's actually the definition anywhere. The glycemic index is based on white bread. White bread has a glycemic index of 100. And you absorb the sugar extremely fast. And whereas whole wheat pasta or I don't know, something has most fruit, vegetables have low glycemic index, so you absorb the glucose slower. And now you can actually use these for your own reference in order to lose weight or to increase exercise better, whatever. But essentially, the faster your blood glucose is absorbed, or let's just say higher glycemic index, or how fast it's absorbed, what that means. Now, candy bars, sugary food, fried food, all that stuff, they have a high glycemic index, which means its sugar is absorbed really fast. Now, I'll explain what that pathology is in fat and what the implication of that is. Now, if the blood sugar is absorbed really fast, what happens is you have a little graph. Let's say this is 1 hour. Let's measure this in an hour. 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, 4 hours after eating. Say you eat something with it has a glycemic index of 80. Well, let's say pretty at 90. That's probably a candy bar. Candy bars have a high glycemic index. What they do is this is blood sugar. What they do is they spike your blood. No, that's probably not right, but it spikes your blood sugar. Damn it. Oh fuck! Forgot you can erase individual things. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. This is blood glucose. Now, a candy bar would spike your blood sugar. And what happens when you increase your blood sugar? You release insulin. Insulin, now since you spiked your blood sugar, your body is overwhelmed with sugar. It's saturated with sugar. So what it does is it releases a shit ton of insulin. This insulin will cause the sugar to go into the cells, so it spikes. And when your blood sugar goes into your cells, you get hungry. Now, if you noticed, since you absorbed it extremely fast, you're hungry like an hour after you eat. So if you have a bag of chips or soda, which has high glycemic index, or a candy bar, you'll be hungry within the next like 30 minutes to an hour. Reason being because you spiked your blood sugar and your blood sugar decreased. So essentially, this makes you feel like shit and actually makes you eat more. So you spike it again. You eat more sugary food. Same thing happens, you spike it again. Now, the reason why this is horrible is because you spiked your blood sugar, the sugar rushed into your cells. Now, but the sugar was still in your cells. So your cells are not hungry because your cells have sugar. Yet, because your blood sugar drops so fast, your body perceives yourself as being hungry. Your body doesn't know better. So it perceives you as being hungry because you have a low blood sugar, even though the sugar rushed into your cells extremely fast. So you think you're hungry, so you eat more food. Most likely you're going to crave a high sugary food like chips or another candy bar or something sugary. So you're going to spike your blood sugar again. You don't really need the blood sugar. Same thing's going to happen. Insulin will release. Blood sugar will rush into your cells. Same thing, blah, blah, blah. And thus, you gain weight over time. Now with a low glycemic index, 1, 2, 3 hours, this is glucose. What happens is Your blood sugar rises steadily over time and steadily decreases with insulin. That's beautiful. It's a beautiful little peak. So you only get hungry after like 3 hours because it rises slowly. This is like whole wheat foods, vegetables, fruits, walnuts, nuts, potatoes. Maybe not potatoes, but these things, your blood sugar raises slowly and decreases. Now, you can use this for exercise. When you exercise, you need blood sugar slowly, right? Because you won't exercise more than 5 minutes, hopefully. So we're talking about endurance now, not talking about high intensity anymore, because even though it is much better, but your blood sugar is you want to exercise, say, for 40 minutes. You're going for a 5-mile run. So you don't want your blood sugar to spike and then go down with insulin, because if it spikes, you'll have a lot of energy when you first start, but then you'll be sluggish and whatnot, like 10 minutes after you eat. This is why like energy drinks cause spike, because energy drinks are loaded with sugar, so they have a high glycemic index, so it spikes your blood sugar, yet the sugar rushes into your cells and you crash. That's what a crash is. Now, a low glycemic food, well, let's say this high glycemic spike. A low glycemic food raises your blood sugar slowly and decreases slowly. Over a 5-mile run or 40-minute run, this is ideal. So it's really good to eat a low glycemic index before exercise for exactly this reason. So your blood sugar can stay elevated for a longer period of time. Now, after you exercise, you want a high glycemic food. The reason is because after you exercise, your blood sugar is low, hopefully, most likely, because you just exercised, you decreased your blood sugar, you use all that sugar for energy. So your blood sugar is low, you have to raise your blood sugar. Now, a low glycemic food will raise your blood sugar slow, like this. You don't want to, after you exercise, you want food right away because your muscles are starving, they're famished, they want energy now. So a high glycemic food accomplishes that. It spikes your blood sugar really fast. This is the only point. Now, this doesn't mean go after you exercise, eat a candy bar or eat a bag of chips or drink an energy drink or eat cotton candy, which is pure sugar, or even eat sugar. It just means those other high glycemic foods that aren't really that bad, like steak, I believe is high glycemic. Well, it's not high glycemic, but it's like 70%, I think. I don't know, or 70%, 70. You just want a high glycemic food after you exercise because you want to increase your blood sugar. After you exercise, right after you exercise, your cells are more susceptible to insulin, so it wants insulin right away. So this is why they say after you exercise, you should eat something within. This window changes all the time. He says 0 to 2 hours. That's a long ass window, but it's really, I've heard like 15 to 30 minutes. Really, you want something in your system. You want food, energy, right after you exercise because your cells are more susceptible. They want food, so they're more likely they're going to take advantage of that food. So you want to eat as soon as possible after exercise. And after exercise, you want high glycemic food as fast as possible. Okay, so that's about that question. Just glycemic index, very fat, very simple. Low glycemic, slow blood glucose raises slowly and decreases slowly, like a little trough. That's not even a word. High glycemic food spikes it, decreases. And then you crash. That's the word. Candy bars, high glycemic. Energy drinks, very pretty much the more sugar it has, the more high glycemic index is. Energy drinks spike your glucose. That's why you get such massive amount of energy. And then maybe an hour, 30 minutes later, you crash. Because such a high glycemic, all that sugar, yeah, it does give you energy, but all that sugar rushes into your cells, so you crash. And then you think you're hungry again, so you eat more, or you have another energy drink, and you crash again. You do it, and you crash again. Really, every time you crash, you're really not hungry because you still had all that sugar rush into your cells, yet you think you're hungry, so this leads to weight gain. And that's why, yeah, sugary food is bad. It causes weight gain. It makes you fat. Stop eating sugar.